Hey, hello, and welcome back. I am Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and this is another episode of the Getting to Clarity Show. This is the place that you come to get the tips, tools, and techniques to identify the next clear move in your leadership, in your business, in your career, maybe even in your life. Today we are talking about small shifts, big impact. People think that to achieve something big, you have to make a giant leap. But here's what I've learned. It isn't the big sweeping changes that move the needle. It's the small, consistent shifts that you're willing to take every single day. Those little choices stack up. They build confidence. They create momentum. And eventually, they will deliver the breakthroughs that you've been waiting for. So one of my biggest breakthroughs came in my health. I got on a scale one day, and I was mortified. I knew I needed to make a change for my health, and I also knew I couldn't do it alone. So I hired a health coach. And here's a surprise. It wasn't about big, drastic changes. It was the small, consistent shifts day after day. That is how I was able to donate 60 pounds back to the universe. And I say donate because linguistically, when you lose something, you go looking for it, and oftentimes you find it. And that's not what you want to have happen with weight. So those small shifts changed my health. They affected my confidence and even how I showed up as a leader. Now, why is this important? Leaders often overlook small shifts because they think that they're not enough. They're waiting for something bigger, a big sweeping move, the perfect time, the huge change. But that puts you at risk. You could stall out and lose your momentum. You could burn out of frustration, and you miss chances. So small shifts may not be flashy, but they keep you moving. And it's that movement that creates the impact. So for me, one of the most powerful small shifts is the morning ritual that I have. I need to start my morning with some quiet time. I block out time for the day for outreach and calls before I do anything else in my business. That single habit has created more momentum in my business than any other. Another one is protecting time on my calendar. So I joke that nature abhors a vacuum, right? Well, so does your calendar. If you don't block the time out for thinking and planning, then it will get filled with busy work. But if you do block out that time, you get to move the needle on what actually matters. Now let's say you're stuck. Start with something I call the brain dump. Just get everything out of your head. Then use what I call the Mitchell method to move you forward. And this is how it works. When my son Mitch was little, the Christmas catalog would come from Toys R Us, and I think he wanted something on every page. And so what I would do is I would compare the toy on page 1 with the toy on page 2. Which one do you want the most? It only ever became a decision between two, not everything. So the items on your brain dump list, do the same thing. Compare one item to another all the way through the list until you know what really matters most. That clarity gives you direction. Other micro choices that I've seen leaders use include weekly reflection, mentoring, or simply just setting boundaries. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to be consistent. So show up for those small shifts and watch your momentum build. With your team, create space to share what's working. Allow people to share, hey, this is what's working for me. And it helps them to be recognized, to be part of the conversation. Maybe it's, here's what's helping me to get out of the office on time. Here's what's keeping me focused on my goals. Or even what's making life easier. So when teams hear and share those small wins, it lifts everyone. So here's one to try. I call it the power of 3. Every morning, write down 3 small, intentional moves that you will commit to making that day toward your most important goal, whatever that is. Start your day with those before anything else. It doesn't matter what size they are. They can be tiny moves. These small moves, when you do 3 a day and they're done consistently, will build momentum faster than waiting for the perfect time or the perfect plan. Now, we're all carrying a lot. I see it, I feel it, and it can feel very overwhelming. But clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from starting small. One move, a micro shift. That's what gets you back in the game, and it gives you ownership and moves you forward. So here's your next clear move. Pick one goal, define 3 moves, and start today. If you would like more tools and resources, then head on over to my website at www.debbiepetersonspeaks.com. And until next time, be good to yourself.